Hello and welcome. Today we're going to do a follow-up on my almond milk video that I did a few weeks ago. Some of my friends had questions about the matcha, the almond milk matcha that I spoke about, and some had questions about the cold brewed coffee. But in addition to that, today we're going to talk about my new book, which will be out very shortly, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background about it. So stay with me, we'll be right back. So if you've been here before, you know who I am. I'm Olivia S. Benson, and I am the author of this, what I call lovely pink book. It's called For the Love of My Father. And basically it's a spiritual guide to healing issues for women who grew up without their fathers. Basically, I call it to heal your daddy issues. It's for the women or young women. It's for the people who love them, the men, because many times women get married or are in a relationship and their significant other has to deal with the aftermath of being a woman or a girl who grew up without their father. Also, it's for the daddies, because if you miss the mark and you were not the ideal daddy, you should know what it feels like and what you can do to make it better. So this is the book that you guys hear me talking about, or at least have heard me talking about for some time. But in addition to this book, I have a new version of Answers from Within. And interestingly enough, I wrote this book several years ago, and it took me many years to finish. But the thing about it was that I had been to college and I had been to law school, and I was actually practicing law, and I just felt like something was still missing. I was just not satisfied. And ultimately, that's where that title came, because over many years, I realized that I needed to find real answers, things that would satisfy me, not just in terms of making money and, being a professional and being a woman. And I also wanted to sort of integrate everything, because there were also many challenges as a professional woman and as a mother. How do you integrate work life, and what am I really supposed to do? And of course, if you've read anything I've written, you know that the bottom line is we have to get to the spiritual truth behind things. And that's where the answers are. There's so many of us out here. You have a job, you're happy because you're making some money, but behind that, there is a hollow feeling, a feeling like something's missing, like you really don't know what the purpose of life is. And in the book, there is a little diagram. It's like you get born, you work, and you die. You retire and you die. And what I came to know is that there's so much more to life than that. And there's a quote that I really love, and it's on the back of the book, and it says, based on Einstein's formula, scientists claim a human represents approximately 1.86 million kilotons of dynamite energy. The atomic bomb used during World War II was approximately 21 kilotons of explosives. This means we, all of us humans, are created with 88,403 times more explosive energy than that bomb. Why are we created with all this power? What are we supposed to do with all of it? So in Answers from Within, I take you on my journey to finding my answers for my work life. And there's some essential questions that I ask in the book. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And who is going with me? And so I hope, especially for those of you that have these questions about work, you've been working for a long time and you just feel like you don't know what the whole point of this existence is. That was where I was. Like, what is this? What am I doing? I'm going to work for 30 years, 40 years, and that's it. But the book addresses many, many issues. There's a chapter that's called Timeless Work. And that's for those of us who are mature. You're now getting, 40, 50, 60, and you're wondering what this life is about and what are you going to do next. And there's a chapter also, it's called Honor Thy Children, because there is such a change in the world right now in terms of what the future's going to hold for everyone, that it's important to understand that everyone who comes to the planet comes with gift, talent, skills, and abilities. And to help your children, you should get a sense of what they're here to do. There's also a very important chapter. It's called Recasting the Relationship Between Men and Women. As we evolve, as the world changes, as women come into their own as whole human beings, men and women have to figure out how things will change. There's also a chapter called Viva la Différence, which is about, how we deal with people who are different in terms of their sexual preferences or gender or what have you. The bottom line is that we're all equal, we are all gifted, and we're all here to do something. And then there's an entire chapter devoted to the issue of how we deal with race in terms of living in America and reaching our full potential. And the name of that chapter is Dividing and Conquering. So I address a number of different issues. It was a very long period of time for me where even though I was working, even though I've always worked, I've been working since I was 17 years old, and I've never been without a job. But in all that time, I also was never completely clear about the reason for the life I was living. Kind of being in a rat race. There's a chapter in here called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Living in the rat race, doing what you have to do, but still not feeling satisfied. So that's what Answers from Within is all about. And for those of you who have this issue, I think it definitely can help you. It'll be available on Amazon and all the other major platforms very, very soon. You can go to my website, which is oliviasbenson.com, and find more about it. So those are the two books, and I will give you, of course, I'm on social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and like I said before, the website. So all the information will be everywhere very, very quickly. So if you have these two issues, and I always laugh because I made a list of the major issues that I had in my life. These are two: absent daddy and figuring out work. So more to come on that. But now, what I want to speak to you about is the questions that people had about why do you drink matcha? And why do you do your coffee cold brewed? Well, there are a couple of things. And obviously these are my theories. And I use the word theory because as much as people claim to know things, we really know very little. We have ideas, we have theories, we have some science out there, but absolute knowing, I think, is beyond us. But let's just go with what we know, and in my case, let's go with my theory. So what I would like you to know in terms of health and nutrition from my perspective is that when we eat, we are supposed to be eating to nourish our bodies. That's the primary cause. There's something which is my theory as well. I call it the pleasure principle. And that's how Jeff's is God, energy, force, spirit. It does everything this way. So for example, when you eat, which is for the nourishment of your body, there's pleasure associated with it. Reproduction. We need to have more humans come into the world for the place to continue to exist. And so reproduction has pleasure associated with it. I actually believe that work is a necessary part of our lives. And guess what? If you're doing the right work, there is pleasure associated with it. So when we go to nutrition, the underpinning of it is that whatever we put in our bodies must be for nutrition. Now, there's something I call it I call it, entertainment food, right? Which, you know, if you want to be entertained by your food, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. The challenge that we see in today with health and nutrition is when most of your food is for entertainment purposes, mostly, right? Because your body is actually saying, listen, I need you to send some nutrition down here, and you're eating, right? If you're eating entertainment food, you're eating, but your body's not getting the nutrition. So your body is like, hey, we need some potassium, some magnesium, we need some selenium, we need some zinc, whatever it is it might need. But if you're throwing things down that doesn't have that, then you're not getting your nutrition. So the question is always balance, right? You can be entertained by your food if you want to, but if most of your food is entertainment, now your body is going to be challenged. So I like matcha because it is literally ground leaves from a tea plant, a specific tea plant. It is traditionally from Japan. Obviously, every single Japanese probably doesn't drink matcha, but it's traditionally known from Japan. And one of the great things about it is that it's just a ground tea and it has a lot of nutrition. It has antioxidants, it has vitamin C, it has chromium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, and it is basically, you know, it's like rich in chlorophyll. It has a lot of chlorophyll. And the thing with chlorophyll, and you should Google this, I always say to people, listen, when you listen to things on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, especially when it has to do with your nutrition and your health, you should go investigate. You can Google what are the benefits of matcha. What kind of nutrition does matcha have? What is chlorophyll? What are the benefits of chlorophyll? Those things are super important, and you can find out for yourself why. Now, there are a million different kinds of teas that you could have, and we'll put coffee in a separate category for right now, but there's a lot of different teas out there that you can have, and there's nothing wrong with them. So the issue boils down, and I happen to like teas. I think it's because my maternal grandmother was Jamaican and she liked teas. So I think I had a little bit of a bent towards teas from an early age. But so now I get to this phase in my life where I want to explore what is the most nutritionally beneficial thing for me. And it's not that I don't have any other teas. It's not that there's anything wrong with any other teas. It's that I find that the nutrition in matcha is significant. And it happens to be, when you combine it with the almond milk, you can use, by the way, you can use regular milk. You can have the matcha with regular milk, or you can have it with the almond milk. But of course, now what I'm saying is we have the high nutrition of the almond milk. And if you guys saw the video, you know that it also has the sea moss, the sea moss gel. So we're talking about the high nutrition in that almond milk, and then you're talking about the nutrition of a matcha, the matcha tea, which I just mentioned all the nutrition that it would have. So it's a choice. You can drink any tea you want. You can drink no tea. You can have it with regular milk, or you can have it with almond milk. And this is where entertainment comes along, right? Because, you know, we're accustomed to eating a certain kind of way, and we're accustomed to certain taste. So we want to have our tea be delicious in the morning. And if you try that almond milk and combine it with the matcha, then you will find that it is satisfying. And I think I said that in the last video, the matcha with the almond milk, with the sea moss gel is extremely satisfying, and it works. So it's your decision. Now, I want you to know that all matchas are not made the same. I won't mention the name, but I went to a major coffee, let's just say coffee house, and I ordered the matcha. And I thought it was gonna be the matcha that I made at home. Well, no. Apparently, it's the matcha with some kind of cream or some other element, let's call it, and it already had sugar. So they just put water in it, I believe, and when I drank it, it was very sugary. Now, the thing is that once you once you start introducing things that you don't know what they are, now the so-called nutritional benefits can be lost. So I'm advocating for you to figure out how many things you can do yourself at home and control what you're putting in to your body. Now, in the last video, I kept mentioning keto, right? And by the way, this tea would be keto friendly. The almond milk would be without any sweetener, whether it's dates or anything else, would be keto. And according to the research, it's great for your metabolism. The matcha, that is, it helps to, elevate your metabolism. It does so many different things. But obviously this would be keto friendly. Now, the reason that I think keto is so important is because there are a lot of people who are overweight, have metabolic issues. They have, some people have diabetes. Some people have insulin resistance, which is associated with diabetes, and a number of different things. And I've tried keto, and I think it can work. Obviously, you have to talk to your healthcare professional, but I think it can be very helpful. I think it's something that most of us need to integrate into our diet. I'm not on keto, but I definitely favor a low carbohydrate diet. But I think that if you have significant issues with your metabolism, if you have diabetes or if you have insulin resistance and those kinds of issues, that keto can be very, very helpful. I will tell you this. If I want to lose weight, there are two things that work for sure for me. One is keto, and two is intermittent fasting. I got to a certain point in my life where 2 pounds didn't just disappear easily. Like at a certain point, you can gain 2 pounds and lose 2 pounds. But later on, you gain 2 pounds, you're gonna be having a conversation with those 2 pounds for a while. And if you gain 10 pounds, it's gonna be a whole thing. For me, and everybody needs to figure out how their body works and what works for them. But keto does work for me, along with intermittent fasting in terms of losing weight. And that's why, for example, something like matcha with almond milk, without any sweetener, would be something that I would include in my diet. Okay? So the next thing that people asked about was, why cold brew your coffee? Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, the less you cook anything, the better, right? And obviously boiling and so to speak, brewing your coffee at high temperatures, it can have the effect of destroying some of the nutrients. It doesn't destroy all the nutrients, because the research shows that, the nutritional profile of cold brewed is similar to, let's say, hot brewed. However, we know that the less heat, the better. And I don't know, this happens at my office all the time, not from my particular office, but in the office building. By 3 p.m., there's a smell in the office of burnt coffee. Now, that coffee, which people absolutely drink, is fine because its purpose, right, is not necessarily nutrition. It's probably just to keep you awake or maybe entertainment. So it's entertainment food. You can take it in, it will keep you alert, you'll be able to finish your work day, and that will be that. However, I'm thinking, well, what can I do to make my coffee also have nutrition? And by the way, if you know a little bit about coffee, it's actually a fruit. And when it's ripe, it's red, and you can actually take the the skin off, and there's like, a little bit of a fruit kind of thing associated with it. It's an incredible plant. I mean, amazing. So there is nutrition in coffee. It has vitamins and minerals, and it has a lot of different things. And again, the list of benefits of coffee is extensive. Now, this is the problem with us humans, myself included. And I always say you can't with us, right? Because the problem is we find a good thing and we overdo it. So some people say coffee's good, some people say coffee's bad. There's a whole discussion about whether coffee's good or bad. I think the answer is coffee's good if you don't overdo it. Just like everything else, it's right in the middle. It's not inherently good or inherently bad. It's just that when we overdo anything, it's likely to have problems. So again, a choice. There's nothing wrong with hot brewed coffee. However, cold brewed, the coffee is not over processed. Also, there's a lot of discussion out there about the fact that cold brewed is less acidic. So for those people who find coffee to be too acidic for their stomach, one of the things that it may help with, as usual, you need to consult with your nutritionist or healthcare professional whether coffee is even good for you, because I'm not particularly recommending it for anyone. I'm just saying that for me, the cold brewed works. So I got my nutrition because it's cold brewed. And another thing that it does for me is that I can ground the coffee and put the water and leave it. And when I come in the morning, if I'm taking coffee that particular day, I'm taking it to work or what have you, I can just strain it and make my coffee. In my case, I love it with the almond milk. So I have it already done and it's in the refrigerator, and this container probably will last for maybe 3 to 4 cups of coffee. And by the way, on the days that I have coffee, which may be twice a week, only have 1 cup of coffee. Not 12 cups, not 12 cups of coffee or anything, outrageous along those lines. So, everything is about how you're managing your nutrition and making sure that when you do consume something, you understand what the benefits are for your body. Or if it's not beneficial, understand that it's not something that's going to be beneficial to your body, and understand that you might put yourself in a situation where you're in a deficit. Because if you're eating things that don't have nutrition and your body's calling for something, and then you have to eat more or take supplements or whatever it is you have to do, then you're creating a challenge. And I think it's a new day in the world where people are really, really looking for answers, basically about everything. We're looking for answers for work, answers about work. We're looking for answers about nutrition, about how to live a better life, the condition of the world. We're looking for answers about everything. And I think we have an opportunity with regards to nutrition, if we're willing to go out and search, really, to look for it, to find out what is really going on. The truth often with regards to many, many things is not obvious. But if you go look for it, you will find it. So with regards to my matcha and with regards to my cold brewed coffee, the bottom line is they're nutritional choices. There's nothing wrong with cold brewed. There's nothing wrong with hot brewed. There's nothing wrong with matcha. There's nothing wrong with any other kind of tea. It's about the choices that you're going to make about your nutrition. So if you guys have any other questions, please put it in the comments. I'm Olivia Benson, and as I said before, I'm the author of these 2 books, For the Love of My Father and Answers from Within, both available on Amazon. And there's a website, there's Facebook, there's a lot of information out there. And my entire mission is basically to share my experiences in terms of the challenges that I had and how I overcame them by getting into a spiritual understanding of life. So please, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere else. And please support me. Go out and get my books. Take care. Love you guys. Bye.